Okay, I think it's really recording now. Welcome to episode 5. If you remembered, our problem last time is I click these and I can put them here, and man, it works great. If I click it again, it disappears. I can put something else there. If I want to put this yellow right on this green, first I got to disappear, then I put it there. Man, what's the problem? That's the problem. I shouldn't be able to click anything but this until I've received the grade. So we could go in a lot of directions. We could work on grading it. The submit button, it shouldn't even show up until we have all 4 things filled in, because we can't submit it with less than 4. Well, now we can. Right now we can't, because the button actually doesn't do anything. So where I want to go next is I don't want it to let me color any line but the first one until after I click the submit button. All right. So the way I'm going to do this is, remember, each one of these rows was a class. Inside of that class, I had the guesses part and the grade part. Inside of the guesses part, I have each peg. I think I had I guess I got it right here. I can look at it. So in each row I had the guess pegs, which is the box that holds all of them, and the grade pegs, which is the box that holds all of these. And then the guess peg is each individual one. So this class right here, guess pegs, we have we have all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. And in each of those 10 we have 4. Does this look like kind of like a 2-dimensional array to you? I mean, it's not, but we could make a 2-dimensional array, and imagine if we could make a 2-dimensional array and map this to one thing and this to the next. I think we can do that. That'd be really cool and fancy, and it'd maybe teach a lot, but isn't necessary. Well, okay. First things first. I want to make it so I can only click this row. What if, right in the HTML, this guess peg, I put active here. Okay. Command C, Command V, Command V, Command V. So instead of, where's my app.js? Instead of, hey, when I click guess peg, do all of this, this only happens when I click active. I'm going to hit Command, remember the blue dot means it's not saved. I hit Command S to save it. I'm going to come up here and refresh it. And this, it has more than one class. Okay, well, I didn't break it. But the question is, if I click here, 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 or this one, will it even go? No, it won't. Because these aren't the active class. So the thing is after I fill 4 of these, I want to click submit. And of course, it's going to grade it. We'll forget about that for now, because that's not going to happen in this lesson. But what has to happen is that these need to stop being active, and these need to start being active. And then after that, there's a little trick, that a problem. It'll seem like a bug, but it's only a bug if you didn't see it coming, so I guess it won't be a bug. But I'm not going to tell you what it is, so maybe you don't see it coming. Okay, so look at the HTML for a second. What is the name of one of these boxes right here? A guess peg. Guess pegs, Command C. I'm going to make an array of my guess pegs. I'll just do, let guess box array. Is that a good name? Equal. See that forward? It's supposed to be $. dot, oh, and speak, I'll tell you later. Dot. That's it. What is it? Okay, I'm not going to say, I'm going to tell you what. Because I do want that, I just don't want it yet. Log, tab. If I log this, Command C, Command V, Command S. Remember there, remember what my view friend is, this white box that magically appears here. How to do that? Command Option I. This is the console. When I run it, things that are running here like console log are going to appear in the console. So let's refresh this. And look, it says line 7, so I'm definitely, this is line 7. It is logging an array of divs. And as each one, come on, don't make me a liar. What did I hit? How did I do that? Yeah, as I go over each one of the array, it highlights a different one of those. So this is the 0th one in the array, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is the 9th one. I really want to refer to this as the 0th one. How can we do that? So back to what I was doing up here. Command C. Get rid of this here. I don't know what else Command C in. Guest box array. I'm gonna, let's say temp. Because man, so that's, I have a temporary array. We'll call it temp array so we can, by giving good names like a temp array, you think, oh, this is an array that is holding something temporary. You don't have to do documentation. It's called self-documenting code. However, when your code gets sloppy and there's stuff everywhere, I mean, documentation is never a bad idea. Sometimes it's just not necessary. Okay. What did I just call that one? Guest box array. Why did I didn't do my Command C thing to it. Array. It equals a blank thingamajigger. I kind of want to do a for each to show you, but I kind of forget how. I don't need to. I'll just do a regular old for loop. I will say let I equal 0. I is less than 10. And I'm stepping through this array, by the way. But I'm going to make the 9. I'm going to make it so. What's the hell doing there? I'm going to make it so the bottom one is the 0th. I plus plus. Command C, Command V. So this array is empty. The way you push something onto an array, the way you add something to its array is you push it onto it, and it becomes the next thing in the array. What do I want to push onto it? Now this goes from 0 to 9. So if I push on the 9th thing first, well, I could either have this count backwards. Let's just do that. Let's just have this equals 9, and it's greater than, or get rid of the 1, greater than or equal to 0, and we're counting backwards. Push the ith thing onto there. It's the ith thing on the cake. Now let's log. Let's just make sure. Tab. Let's make sure that it's what we want it to be. Refresh. And it is still an empty array. I equals 9. I is less than or equal to 0. I minus minus, temporary sub I. Wow. Wow. That didn't work at all. So a little troubleshooting, log, Command C, Command V, Command S to save it. Refresh that. Okay, that was temporary. guest box array is a blank array. Dot push. What if I just said I? Would it do that? Is there such a thing? No, it didn't even like that. Okay, that would be crazy. Let guestbox array equal an empty array. Okay, so let's go from I is from 9 down to 0. Log tab I. Is my for loop not working? It's probably something really obvious. Someone's laughing at me. Okay, let me. Oh. The 0 with 1. And that's because this is still here. I got all excited. I thought, oh, look, it did work. Totally didn't work. Nothing happens. Okay, so this is great. This is great. Because this, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we put that there. Escape, I don't even remember what that is. Oh my gosh. So in case you didn't miss it, I had while I is less than 0, and it never is. I is always greater than 0. So now we're going to log this array. And, oh, that's right. We don't have that in the array anymore. Push temp array sub I. Please work this time. Please work. Yay. And if I click it, the 0 with 1. Okay, that's all I wanted to do. So when I say array, so this is an array of divs. So that's all we need to know. Let's make a variable now to see how many guesses have we made. Let's make, right up here, we're initializing everything. Let guess. How many guesses have we made equals 0? We haven't made any guesses. Okay. My point is this. The 0 with guess is this peg. The first guess is going to refer to this. The second guess goes to this one. And if I show it to you on the actual, this is the 0 with first, second, third guess. So every time we hit the submit button, guess is going to increment. Pretty soon we're going to have to do some sort of an event on the submit button. What was that called? So you hear this term event listener. It means this little chunk of code I'm writing is listening for an event. It's listening for us to click the submit button. And it is a class. So this is an event listener. What event is it? It's a click event, but there's other events. Like if I just move a mouse over something, for example, that's an event. There's an onload event. I mean, there's just a bunch of events. You can Google them all. I can't remember what they all are, so I don't think you should either, but if you do, that's really cool. And so when I click it, I do whatever's in here, and there's a function in there. There's no name for this function. This is an anonymous function. I told you this last time. I'll tell you today. I'll tell you again later. So what does it do? Well, we know one thing it does. It's going to make the guess go bigger. Now, if you remember, the reason we started this whole thing is we have those things marked active in index.html. We mark these bad boys active. By the way, Command F. This is how you find stuff when you have a huge file. I'm looking for the word active. Find. Dink, it takes me right there. So these guys, we want to erase it, and then we want to make these guys have it. Ooh. So I have to go back to my app.js. So when the submit button happens, take everything that has the active class. I'm gonna have to Google that. This right here. Let me just type in. So this is the jQuery from here to here. That's the jQuery that says select everything that has the active class and remove a class from it. The class removed from it is active itself. I'm just not sure that that is the command. Easy to find out. We're going to open up our little thing here. Ask the Google. I'm going to W3C. Told you I like them. Remove class method jQuery. I should put that in there too. JQuery. Remove class. That's all I need to see. I see it and not. Okay. So right now, when I click the submit button, it's going to remove the class from anything that has active. It's going to remove it. Okay. We want to test that. Is that what I'm getting to? How do we know if that's the case? We know if it works. Well, here's our elements. I'm going to make this bigger by making this smaller. We go down here. We're going to look at this. Come on, yo. Flexor. Where is the guest peg? There it says active. Okay. Did I refresh it yet? Oh, I gotta do it all again. Active. I'm just going to click this button. It went away. So if it went away, can I click them still? That's weird because I even see it's going right there. Can I click that one, I can click this still. That should be bothering you. It used to bother me. What happens is when I put an event listener on this, it happened once and it didn't unhappen. So even though I got rid of the word active, this still has an event listener on this element. The div element has that event listener. So it's almost like I have to remove the event listener itself, and there is a way to do that, but I'm not going to do it that way. I am actually going to select the guest pegs. So those are the ones that have the row. This is perfect, actually. But where I was hitting active, I'm going to still call it a guest peg, like it used to say. Guess. Was it that one? Guest peg. And if jQuery has so many cool little things. If this thing we're picking, the guest peg, if it has a class called active, so I'm jQueryizing it. If dot has class, remember we had remove class, so it says if this thing has a class named active, then do this. Do what? This stuff right here. All of this only happens to active things. So I'm going to command exit, which cuts it, and then tab command v it. Where does this go? That goes to there. I'm going to get rid of that one. So if it has class active, do it to that. But only do it if it has the class active. So let's test it now. Refresh. We haven't hit the submit button, so this has the class active. When I hit submit, well, let's erase them. I hit submit. Now it doesn't have the class active. We could prove that to you again. I don't want to. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Nope. So that was half the problem, making this lose the class active. But now we have to make this have the class active. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, so this is going to be tricky. We're going to do some regular old JavaScript because I don't know the jQuery to do this. Active. Remember we had before, I want to refer to each one of these things. Remember I was talking about a big two-dimensional array earlier? I want to refer to this thing. This would be G for guess, G00, because this is the 0 with guess, and this is the 0 with 1, because this would be 00, G01, G02, G03. So if this had the ID of G00, or had the class of G00, that'd be nice. So now I just have to go to these 40 things and enter in a class for each one. Just kidding. Actually, that would totally work, but this is such a great opportunity to show you, to do it dynamically. We're gonna, when this starts up, we're gonna give it classes. Now I made this thing right here. This guest box, each one of these has an array in it, right? So temp array, this I is the guess. So I'm gonna go through this because that's an array of the divs. For let I equal 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus. I'm going through each one of these. Let's get over here what these are. So I'm going through this, and then I'm going to go through each one of these. So I have to, the first loop goes through each row, the second loop is going to go through each one, and we're going to add a class to each one. And I'm going to use a clever trick. Sometimes people say clever, sometimes people say elegant. I've never thought of myself as an elegant coder, but I dare say I'm a clever one. Let J equal 0. Did I just dare say right in a sentence? I don't really talk like that. J is less than 4. J plus plus. So that needs to be there, but first there is, you know how jQuery selects things like this says this? There is a way to do it without jQuery. Let guess array equal document dot get element by class. I gotta Google it. This is JavaScript, not jQuery. JavaScript get element by class. And I'll say W3C because that'll take me to the website. They always have it. Bar X equals just like this. This is perfect. Except for I don't want the class to be called example. Document get element by class. And what's the class name? It is guessPeg. So what does this say? This says, look in the document, which is basically my HTML thing, and get all the elements with the class name guessPeg. And I notice I didn't put a dot in here. This isn't jQuery. I don't put the dot there. This is the name of the element I want to get. Why didn't I do this with jQuery? Because it'd be super easy. This is what I would do with jQuery. I'll just do that command C thing I'm so good at. This line of code here is the same as that. If I said let guess, that would do it. However, getting it from the document is not what I want to do. This is where I'm getting it from. This says get it from the document. And jQuery gets, as far as I know, jQuery is going to get it from the document. I don't want to get it from the document. I want to get all the things that have the name guest peg in, let me show you, in between, in this, this guest peg is one. So remember, I have an array of this. I'm going to say look inside of the array for this one. Or I'll show you on here. Look inside this array. Don't look at all of them. We're just looking at this guess and get me from there. So how do I do that? It's a great question. So I'm not going to say document here. I'm going to say moment of truth. Well, actually, let's prove what I just said. So this for loop right here, I'm going to use it, just not yet. I'm going to comment it out. That's log. Log this thing. Come over here, go to the console, refresh. See, there's a big thing here. It's a really, really big thing. And look at, we got all of them. So that part at least worked. I want it to now equal this thing. Remember, we're stepping through this one, so every I steps through another one. We're starting with the 0 with 1, which is, in the picture, it's this one. We're saying get everything with that one just out of this group, out of this collection of stuff. That would be so cool if that worked. Refresh. Why did it do it all those times? Oh, because we told it to do it for every one. So when I is equal to 0, we're talking about these ones. When I is equal to 2, and if you're still not seeing why, it printed this. See where it says appjazz 18? Because it came through this 9 different times. I guess 10 different times, didn't it? And it wrote it different times. Anyway, what are we going to assign? So now we're stepping through each one of those. Remember I said I was going to use this later. Now I want to step through each 4 of those. So, I'm going to use the exact same thing. Am I? No, I'm not. I just wrote into this. This is an array of 4 things. Okay. Okay, so if I wanted to add a class, I could say, how do I call this thing? Don't do this to me. Let's do this. Okay. What is that referencing? Guest box I references the low, ij references the individual thing. If you don't believe me, well, maybe this will make you believe me. I have to jQueryize it. Do you know how to do that? You did. Oh, what did I hit? Okay, I don't know what I did. Here's what I meant to hit. Oh, it's not working either. jQueryize that thing and add class we're going to, so the first time I want to add a G00, where am I going to get these 0 zeros? Well, this is 0 and this is 0. So magically, if I said, if I could make a string that started with the G, and then it said this 0, the 0 of the guess, and then the 0 of that, that would do it. So you know how we use strings? We start with these, or we start with these. Better, the backticks, which is these. What was that? That's on the tilde button. There's this little tick mark on there, on their backticks. And on JavaScript 6, they started using those. So, and this is to build a string, but you use it a little differently. The G I actually want in the string, but then I want to give it the I value and the J value. So inside of there, I'm going to do the I. Inside of there, I'm going to do the J. And I think I want to say G dash I dash J, Command S. And I want to add that class to each one. Hold on to your pants. Refresh. Now, I don't gotta hit anything. I just have to go to the elements. If this worked, then that would have something called that. And it doesn't. It's just guess peg. It doesn't. It doesn't. It so doesn't. What are those ones that had the, oh, there's the guess pegs. There's the grade peg. There's the active ones. But nothing has that. And it's for a really dumb reason. We're not going to abandon this line. Oh, Command Z. We're looking in the wrong array. Remember a while ago, and I started to freak out. I couldn't read all this at once. We're looking right here. Command V. And remember when I was telling you this is how you access that? That was just me trying to convince me, because that's how you access it. I feel really good about this. I'm going to refresh this. Yeah, there it is, baby. Oh, yeah, I'm so happy. I did it, Mom. This has the class active9 or G00. One little thing while I'm here. If you're going to give it something unique, you could give it a class, but let's just do it an ID. So you think you'd say something like add ID with 1D. No, that's not what you do. You say ATTR. So that means give it the attribute. And what are attributes? Well, in this case, our attributes are just an ID. So it said, give this thing an attribute of ID. So that means if ID is an attribute, what else is an attribute? It's like that thing with I had a minute ago, and there's so many I don't even know. There's data attributes. Look, I thought of two. So when I refresh this, it's not going to say this. It's going to give it an ID, unless I got some syntax error. Okay, the ID of this. So now when we grab these things, we're going to grab them by, in jQuery, we're not going to use a dot. This is for a class. We're going to use a pound sign, or whatever the kids call them nowadays, hash signs. Okay. Remove class. Get that. Add, so the guess goes up 1. Remember, all we're trying to do is give the next row something that says active. So for there's these 4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 boxes we want to make active. We want to make 1, 2, 3, and 4 active. So guess just incremented. So looking at these things, it's the guess. This is up here. This is the 9th guess. If I look down here, let me just hit inspect. This is the 0th guess. This is the 1. That 1 right here, these are all the first guess, and this is box 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If that isn't, and this guess is basically tracking the row. It starts at 0, and every time I hit submit, it gets 1 bigger. So let I equal 0. I is less than 4. I plus plus. Then here's where the magic happens, baby. We're going to select each of those. We're going to select them, and we're going to add a class. And what class are we going to add? We're going to add a class of active. But how do we select them? Well, so you think this is what we usually do, this is what you're thinking, and I somehow say it? All this is doing is making a string. And we just learned a cooler way to make strings. Backtick G dash we don't have an IJ. We just remember, this first I is the guess. The second I is the one. So this is the I. When I said first I, first row, you know what I meant. You're smarter. Do you see it? Do you see it? Select that one. Add a class active. Okay. This is so exciting. So let's give these some colors. Let's do it. Try not to. And I want to watch this happen in real time. Command full screen that. Let's it's like these ones aren't the ones we're looking at. What are the ones we're looking at? This is the wrong row. This is the row. Where's the ones that already have active in it? Not you guys. Not you guys. Not you. Right here. These guys are active. See this says active? I'm going to hit submit. They're not active anymore. These ones are. Which means now I can hit these. But I cannot hit these until I hit submit. Because now I just said look at the next row now. So I'll change my colors. White's been getting ignored. So has just white. But I can't click anything else. Submit. Can't click up here still, but I could just click that one. So, wow. Let me refresh it. What do? I hit submit. So do you see a problem? Submit, submit, submit. Okay. When I hit submit, it takes the next one, but I wasn't ready to go. It can't assume that I know what I'm doing. I mean, it can pretty much assume that I don't. So in the next part, we're going to make it so it can save me from myself. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in episode 6.